It's like gold dust. You hear me coming through your speakers. You see me bagging up your airways. I know you can't get enough of my sound. It's like gold dust. You hear me coming through your speakers. You see me bagging up your airways. I know you can't get enough of my sound.
Trap Gold.
A school for scandal. Tell me, I beseech you. Need a school this modish art to teach you?
No need for lessons now, the knowing think. We might as well be taught to eat and drink.
Caused by a dearth of scandal. Should the vapors distress our fair ones? Let them read the papers.
And our friends we laugh who feel the dark. To reach our feelings we ourselves must smart.
Is our young bard so young to think that he could stop the full-sprung tide of calumny?
Knows he the world so little and its trade? Alas, the devil sooner raised than lays.
So strong, so swift, the monster, there's no gagging. Cuts scandal's head off, still the tongue is wagging.
He'll fight, that's right, a cavallero true, until every drop of blood, that's ink, is spilt for you. The paragraphs, you say, were all inserted?
They were, madam, and as I copied them myself in a feigned hand, there can be no suspicion from whence they came.
Did you circulate the report of little Brittany's intrigue with Brian?
I did, madam, by now. Brittany is the talk of half the town, and by the end of the week, no doubt the men will toast her as a demigod.
What have you done as to the insinuation as to a certain student and certain cook?
Madam, that is in as fine a train as you could wish. I told the story yesterday to my own maid with directions to communicate it directly to my hairdresser. He, I am informed, has a cousin whose sister, whose mistress, is apprentice in Brooklyn, whose first cousin is femme de charme to Mrs. Clackett. So then you know that Mrs. Clackett must hear the news within 24 hours, and then you know the business is as good as done.
Why, truly, Mrs. Clackett has a very pretty talent. To my knowledge, she has been the cause of breaking off 6 matches, of 3 sons being disinherited, and 4 daughters being turned out of doors, of 3 several elopements, as many close confinements, 9 separate maintenances, and 2 divorces.
She's certainly very talented.
Her manner is gross.
'Tis true. She generally designs well, has a bold tongue, free invention, but her coloring lacks the mellowness of tints and the delicacy of smear which distinguish your ladyship's scandal.
You are partial, Snake.
Oh no, everybody allows that you can do more with a word or a look than most can with even the most labored detail, even if they have a little truth to back up their assertions.
Yes, my dear Snake, I am no hypocrite to deny the satisfaction I reap from the success of my efforts. Wounded myself in the early part of my life by the envenomed tongue of slander, I confess I have since known no pleasure equal than to reducing others to the level of my own injured reputation.
Nothing could be more natural. But there is one affair in which your ladyship has lately employed me, in which I confess I am at a loss to guess your motives.
I conceive you mean with respect to our teacher, Sir Peter Teazle, and his family. Has my conduct in this matter really appeared to you so mysterious?
Entirely so. An old widower, as Mr. Teazle is, having taken a young wife out of the country, as Mrs. Teazle is, are certainly fair subjects for a little mischievous raillery. However, here are 2 young men to whom Mr. Teazle has acted as a kind of guardian since their father's death. The eldest, the most amiable young man and universally well-spoken. The youngest, the most dissipated and extravagant young man in the country. The eldest, an avowed admirer of yours and apparently your favorite. Oh, the youngest, attached to Maria, who is Teazle's daughter, and confessedly beloved by her. Now, on the face of these circumstances, it is utterly unaccountable to me why you should not close with the passion of a man of such character and expectations as Joseph Surface. And more so, why you should be so uncommonly earnest as to break the attachment subsisting between his brother Charles and Maria.
Then to unravel this mystery at once, I must inform you that love has no share whatever in the intercourse between Joseph Surface and myself.
No?
No, his real attachment is to Maria, or her fortune. But finding in his brother a favored rival, he has been forced to mask his pretensions and profit by my assistance.
And yet I am still puzzled as to why you should concern yourself with his affairs.
Heavens, how dull you are! Cannot you surmise the weakness which I, hitherto through shame, have concealed even from you? Must I confess that Charles, that extravagant, that libertine, that bankrupt in fortune and reputation, that he it is to whom I am thus anxious and malicious, and to gain whom I would sacrifice everything?
Oh. Okay, now your behavior appears consistent, and it certainly explains your enmity to Maria. However, how came you and Joseph Surface so, confidential?
From mutual interest. But I found him out a long time since. I know him to be artful, selfish, and malicious. In short, a sentimental knave.
But Mr. Teazle says he's the best man in New York and praises him as a man of sentiment.
True, and with the assistance of his sentiments and hypocrisy, Joseph is now, I believe, attempting to flatter Mrs. Teasle into the same good opinion towards him. While poor Charles has no friend in the house, though I fear he has a powerful one in Maria's heart, against whom we must direct our schemes.
Oh, I believe Madam Joseph Surface is coming.
He usually calls around this time. I don't wonder at people's giving him to me as a lover.
My dear Sabrina, how do you do today? You're most obedient.
The snake has just been questioning me on our mutual attachment. But I've informed her of our real views and the purposes for which our geniuses at present cooperate. You know how useful she has been to us, and believe me, the confidence is not ill-placed.
Madam, it is impossible for me to suspect a lady of Miss Snake's sensibility and discernment.
Oh, well, no compliments now. But tell me, when you saw your Mistress Maria, or what is more material to me, your brother.
Well, I confess I've not seen either since I last saw you, but they have not met either, and some of your stories have started to take great effect on Maria.
My dear Snake, the merit of this belongs to you. But do your brother's distresses increase?
Every hour. In short, his dissipation and extravagance exceed anything I've ever heard of.
Poor Charles.
True, madam. Notwithstanding his vice, one can't help but feel for him. Oh, poor Charles. I only wish it was in my power to be of any essential service to him, for the man who does not share in the distress of his brother, though merited by his own misconduct.
Oh, God, you're going to be moral and forget that you are among friends.
'Tis true, Sabrina. I'll keep that sentiment till I see Mr. Teasle. However, it is certainly a charity to rescue Maria from such a libertine, who, if he is to be reclaimed, could do so by someone of your ladyship's superior accomplishments and understanding.
I believe I hear company coming. Sabrina, I will go post that article I mentioned to you, Mr. Surface.
Sabrina, I begin to wish you had not placed any further confidence in that minion of yours.
Why so?
I've recently detected her in frequent conference with old Rowley, who was formerly my father's steward and has never been a friend of mine.
And do you think she would betray us?
Without a doubt. Take my word for it.
Well, I'm not disappointed in Snake. I never suspected the girl to have virtue enough to be faithful even to her own villainy. Marie, my dear, how are you? What's the matter?
That disagreeable lover of mine, Benjamin Backbite, has just called at my father's office with his odious friend Crabtree, so I slipped out and ran here to avoid them.
Is that all?
If my brother Charles had been at the party, I doubt you'd have been so much alarmed.
Nay, now you are severe, for I dare swear the truth of the matter is Maria heard you were here. Then tell me, what has Benjamin done that you should avoid him so?
Oh, it is not what he has done, but what he has said. His conversation is a perpetual libel on all his acquaintance.
Aye, and that's not the worst of it, for he'll as soon abuse a stranger as his best friend, and Crabtree is just as bad.
Nay, we should make allowance. Sir Benjamin is a wit and a poet.
I know, madam, for my part, wit loses its respect when I see it in the company of malice.
No, there's no possibility of being witty without a little ill nature. The malice of a good thing is the barb which makes it stick. What do you think, Mr. Surface?
Certainly, madam, the conversation where the spirit of raillery is suppressed will ever appear tedious and insipid.
Well, I'll not debate how far scandal may be allowable, but in a man I'm sure it's always contemptible. We have envy, pride, rivalship, and 1,000 motives to appreciate each other. But the male slanderer must have the cowardice of a woman before he can introduce one.
Oh, it's Candace. I'll beg her to walk in. Now, Maria, here is a character to your taste. For though Candace is a little talkative, everybody allows her to be the best sort and best natured of women.
Indeed, with a very gross affection of good nature and benevolence, she does more mischief than the direct malice of old Crabtree.
This is very true. Whenever I hear the current running against the character of my friends, I never think them in such danger as when Candace undertakes their defense.
Hush, here she is.
My dear Sabrina, how have you been this century?
Joseph Surface!
The world says scandalous things of you, but indeed it is no matter what the world says, for I believe one hears nothing but scandal.
Indeed, Mom.
between you and Charles? His extravagance, I presume, but the town talks of nothing else.
I'm sorry, ma'am, the town has so little to do.
True, child, but there's no stopping people's tongues. I own I was very hurt to hear it, as I indeed was to learn that your father and the new Mrs. Teasle have not been agreed lately so well as could be wished.
It is strangely impertinent for people to busy themselves so.
Very true, darling, indeed. But I must tell you that there's no stopping people's tongues. They will talk, and there's nothing you can do about it. Why, it was but yesterday I was told that Gretchen had eloped with Mr. Filigree. But mind you, there's no listening to what people say, though I had it from very good authority.
Such reports are highly scandalous.
So they are. Shameful. Shameful. But, you can't stop people from talking. The world is so censorious that no character escapes. Who would have suspected your friend Miss Prynne of such an indiscretion? Yet such is the ill nature of people that they say they saw her getting into a car and her uncle stopped her as she was with her dancing master.
I'll answer for it. There are no grounds for the report.
The license of invention some people take is monstrous indeed.
Indeed, and in my opinion, those who report such things are equally culpable.
Oh, to be sure they are. Talebearers are just as bad as the tale makers. It's an old observation and a very true one. But as he said before, what's to be done? How will we prevent people from talking? Today, Mrs. Clackett hinted that a widow of the next street had got rid of her dropsy and recovered her shape in a most extraordinary manner, and that Miss Trudy, at the same time, who was affirmed by that buffalo, had discovered his lady in a house of no extraordinary fame, and that Harry Pett and Tom Saunders would measure swords on a similar provocation. But Lord, do you think I would repeat these things? No. Talebearers are just as bad as the tale makers.
Oh, if only everyone had your forbearance and good nature, Candace.
I must confess, Joseph, I cannot bear to hear people traduce behind their backs. By the by, is it true that your brother is absolutely ruined?
Indeed, he's in very bad circumstances indeed, Mom.
Oh, I heard so. But you must tell him to keep up his spirits, because almost everyone's in the same way. Quince, Mr. Nickhead, Mr. Splendor. So, if Charles is undone, then he'll find half his acquaintance ruined too, and that, is some consolation.
A very great one indeed, Mom.
Oh, look, it's Crabtree and Benjamin Backbite.
So, Maria, your lover pursues you. Possibly you shan't escape.
Sabrina, I kiss your hand. This is my friend Benjamin Backbite. He has a pretty wit and he's a pretty poet, too.
Benjamin, I wonder, you never publish anything.
Well, to say the truth, Ma'am, it is very vulgar to print, and as my productions are usually lampoons and satires upon particular people, I find they circulate best by placing them in the hands of friends of the parties.
However, I do have some love elegies.
Which, when favoured with this lady's smile, I shall give to the public.
But, ladies, have you heard the news?
Oh, sir, do you mean the report of the...
No, it's not that. No, ma'am. Nina Knightley is to be married to her own footman.
Impossible!
Ask Benjamin.
Oh, 'tis very true, Ma'am. Everything is fixed, and the wedding livery bespoke.
Yes, and they do say they were pressing reasons for it.
But it cannot be. How could someone say something so rude if a girl's nice clean and nicely?
Oh, Lord, Ma'am, that's the very reason it was believed at once. She's always been so cautious and so reserved that everyone knew there was a reason for it at bottom.
Matter of fact, I assure you. But, oh, Lord. Joseph, is it true that your Uncle Oliver is coming home?
Not that I know of indeed, sir.
He's been in England a long time. You can scarcely remember him, I believe. Sad comfort it must be whenever he returns to hear how your brother's been going on.
Charles has been imprudent, sir, but I hope no busy people have already prejudiced Uncle Oliver against him. He may reform.
To be sure, he may. For my part, I've never believed him to be as utterly devoid of principle, as people say. No man lives in greater splendour. I hear that when he sits down to dinner, he does so with a dozen of his own securities, has a score of tradesmen in the antechamber, and an officer behind every guest's chair.
This may be entertainment to you, gentlemen, but you pay no regard to the feelings of a brother.
Their malice is intolerable. I'm sorry, Sabrina. I wish you a good morning. I'm not feeling very well.
Oh.
She changed color very much.
Go, Candace, follow her. She may want assistance.
I will, with all my soul. Poor dear girl, who knows what her situation may be?
that she could not bear to hear Charles reflected on, notwithstanding their difference.
The young lady's penchant is obvious.
But Benjamin, you mustn't give up pursuit for that. Follow her. Put her into good humor. Repeat her some of your, verses. Come, I'll assist you.
But Joseph, I am so terribly sorry to also hear some bad stories about Charles.
He has done many mean things, that's for certain.
But however, as he is your brother, I'm sure
We'll tell all another opportunity.
It is quite hard for them to leave a subject they have not quite run down.
Aye, and the abuse was no more acceptable to you than Maria.
I doubt her affections are farther engaged than when we imagined. But the family are to be here this evening, so you may as well dine where you are, and we shall have opportunity of observing further. In the meantime, I'll go plot mischief, and you can study sentiments.
When an old man takes a new wife, what is he to expect? It is now 6 months since Lady Teazle has made me the happiest of men. And I have been the most miserable dog ever since. We tiffed a little going to the church and came to a quarrel before the bells had done ringing. I was more than once nearly choked with gall during the honeymoon and had lost all comfort in life before my friends had done wishing me joy. Yet I chose with caution. A girl bred wholly in the country who never knew luxury beyond one silk gown or dissipation above the annual gala or a race ball. Yet now she plays her part in all the extravagant fopperies of the fashion in the town, with as ready a grace as if you had never seen a bush nor a grass plot out of Central Park. I am sneered at by my acquaintance. Paragraphed in page 6 of the paper, she dissipates my fortune and contradicts all my humors. Yet the worst of it is, I doubt I love her, or I should never bear all this. However, I'll never be weak enough to own it.
How is it with you, sir?
Very bad, Rowley, very bad. I meet with nothing but crosses and vexation.
What can have happened to trouble you since yesterday?
A good question to a married man.
Nay, your wife can be the cause of your uneasiness.
Why? Has anybody told you she was dead?
Oh, come, sir, you love her. Notwithstanding your tempers do not exactly.
But the fault is entirely hers. I am myself the sweetest tempered man alive. I hate a teasing temper, and so I tell her 100 times a day.
Indeed.
In all our little quarrels, she is always in the wrong. But Sabrina and the set she meets at school encourage the perverseness of her disposition. Then, to complete my vexations, my daughter Maria seems determined to turn rebel and completely refuses the man who I've long resolved on for her. Meaning, I suppose, to bestow herself on his profligate brother.
You know, sir, I've always taken the liberty to differ with you on the opinion of these two young gentlemen. I only wish you would not be so deceived in your opinion of the elder. For Charles, my life on it will retrieve his errors yet. Their father, my once honored master, was nearly as wild as Spark in his years. Yet when he died, he did not leave a more benevolent heart to his loss.
You are wrong, Rowley. You know on their father's death I acted as a kind of guardian to them both, till that Uncle Oliver's bounty gave them an early independence. Joseph is a man of sentiment, and he acts up to the sentiments he professes. As for the other, if he had any grain of virtue by descent, he has dissipated it with the rest of his fortune. Oh, my old friend Sir Oliver will be deeply mortified when he finds out how part of his bounty has been misapplied.
I am sorry to find you so violent against the young man, because I have come with news that will surprise you.
What? Let me hear.
Sir Oliver is alive, and at this moment in town.
How you astonish me! I thought you did not expect him this month. Aha! I shall rejoice to see my old friend. It is 8 years since we met, and we have had many a day together. But does he still enjoin us not to inform his nephew of his arrival?
Most strictly. He means before he makes it known to make some sort of trial of their disposition.
There needs no art to discover their merits, but he shall have his way. But pray, does he know I am married?
He does, and will soon wish you joy.
Oh, you may tell him it's too late. Oliver will laugh at me. We used to rail at matrimony together, but he has been steady to his text. He must be at my house, though. I'll give orders instantly for his reception. But Rowley, don't mention that Mrs. Teazle and I ever disagree.
By no means.
Or I should never be able to stand Oliver's jokes. So I have him think we were a very happy couple.
I understand you, but then you must be careful not to differ whilst he's in the house with you.
Rowley, but that's impossible. When an old widow takes a new wife, he deserves. No, the crime carries the punishment along with it. Mrs. Teasle, I'll not bear it!
Peter, you may scold or smile as you please, but I ought to have my own way in everything. And what's more, I will. What, though I was educated in the country, I know very well that a woman of fashion belongs to nobody after they're married.
Very well, madam, very well. So a husband is to have no influence, no authority.
Authority, not to be sure. If you wanted authority over me, you should have adopted me and not married me. I'm sure you're old enough.
Old enough, yes, there it is. Well, madam, my life may be made unhappy by your temper. I'll not be ruined by your extravagance.
My extravagance? Why? I do not think I am any more extravagant than a woman of fashion ought to be.
No, you shall throw away no more sums on such unmeaning luxury. To spend as much to furnish your dressing room with flowers in winter as would suffice to turn the Pantheon into a greenhouse and give a fete champêtre at Christmas.
Am I to blame because flowers are dear in cold weather? I think you should find fault with the climate. For my part, I wish it was spring all year round and that roses grew under one's feet.
God's life, madam, if you had been born to this, I shouldn't wonder at you talking thus, but you forget what your situation was when you married me.
No, I don't. It was a very disagreeable one, or else I should never have married you.
Yes, you were then in a somewhat humbler style, the daughter of a plain country farmer. Recollect, Lady Teasle, when I saw you first, sitting at your tambour in a pretty figured linen gown with a bunch of keys at your side, and your apartment hung round with fruits in worsted of your own work.
Horrific. Don't put my mind of it.
Yes, and your daily occupation to inspect the dairy, superintend the poultry, make extracts from the family receipt book, and comb your Aunt Deborah's lapdog.
Scandalous, sir, not a word of it true.
This was your situation, and what have I not done for you? I have made you a woman of fashion, of fortune, of rank. In short, I have made you my wife.
Yes, and there is one thing you can make me.
What's that, pray?
You're a widow?
Thank you, madam, but don't flatter yourself. Although your ill conduct may disturb my peace, it shall never break my heart, I promise you. Though I am equally obliged to you for the hint.
Then why will you endeavor to be so disagreeable to me and thwart me in every little elegant expense?
God's life, madam, I say, had you any of these elegant expenses when you married me?
Well, for my part, I should think you would like your wife thought a woman of taste.
Aye, there again, taste. God's life, madam, you had no taste when you married me.
And after having married you, I should never pretend to taste again, I allow.
So then, madam, if these are your sentiments, pray, how came I to be honored with your hand?
Do you want the truth?
If it's not too great a favor.
Well, I was so tired of all of those agreeable recreations you so good-naturedly mentioned, and having the ability to spend and enjoy a fortune, I was determined to marry the first rich man that would have me.
A very honest confession, truly. But pray, was there no one else you might have tried to ensnare but me?
Oh, I drew my net at several, but you were the only one I could catch.
Oh, this is plain dealing indeed.
Right, well, if we're done our daily jangle, I presume I may go back to my engagement with Sabrina.
Oh, there's another precious circumstance, a charming set of acquaintance you have made there.
Peter, they're people of rank and reputation.
They are tenacious of reputation with a vengeance, for they don't think anybody should have a character but themselves. I know many a wretch who has rid on a hurdle who has done less mischief than these utterers of forged tales, coiners of scandal, and flippers of reputation.
Would you restrain the freedom of speech?
They have made you just as bad as any one of the society.
Well, I agree I bear a small part with a tolerable grace, but I vow I bear no malice against the people I abuse. When I say ill-natured things, 'tis out of pure good humor, and I take for granted they'll do with me in exactly the same way.
So, I have gained much by my intended expostulation. Oh, what a charming air. She contradicts everything I say. And how pleasingly she shows her contempt for my authority. Well, Though she may break my heart, there's certainly a great satisfaction in quarreling with her. And I never think she appears to such an advantage as when she's doing everything in her power to plague me.
No, positively we will hear it.
Yes, the epigram by all means.
A plague on it, 'tis mere nonsense.
No, for God, very clever for an extempore.
All right, but, ladies, first of all, you must be acquainted with the circumstances. You must know that late last week I walked past Mrs. Betty Cunicle, who was taking the dust in Central Park, whereupon she asked me to write a verse upon her ponies. I thought for a moment and quickly produced the following. I entitled it, Horsing Around. Never were there seen two such beautiful ponies. Other horses are clowns, and these, macaronis. Nay, to give them this title, I'm sure is wrong. Their legs are so slim, and their tails are so long. Thank you.
There we go, ladies. Done in the snack of a whip, and on horseback, too.
A very famous mounted indeed, Benjamin.
Oh, dear sir, trifles.
I must have a copy. Mrs. Teasel, I would have expected your husband rather than you.
Yes, well, he'll be arriving presently.
Maria, my love, you look grave. Come sit down and work on your project with Joseph.
It gives me very little pleasure, however, I'll do as you please.
Now, aside, you're so scandalous, I'll forswear your society.
What's the matter, Candace?
They will not allow our friend Veronica to be handsome.
Oh, surely she is a pretty woman.
She has a charming, fresh color.
Yes, that's when it's fresh put on.
Oh, vile sparrow color is natural. I have seen it come and go.
Well, I dare say you have, for it goes of night and comes again in the morning.
Oh, true, it not only comes and goes, but what's more, the maid can fetch and carry it.
I hate to hear you talk so. But positively now, her mother is or was handsome.
Oh, Mrs. Stucco. Oh, Lord, she's 650 if she's an hour.
Now, positively you wrong her. She is 52, 53 at most, and I do not think she looks more. What do you think of Miss Simper?
Why, she has very pretty teeth.
Yes, and on that note, when she neither is speaking nor laughing, which seldom very happens, she neither shuts her mouth, but rather leaves it ajar, as it were.
How can you be so ill-natured?
Well, that's better than the pains Mrs. Prim takes to conceal her losses in the front. She jaws her mouth till it resembles the aperture of a pores box, and all her words seem to slide out edgeways.
Very well, Mrs. Teasel. I can see you can be a little severe.
In defense of a friend, it is but justice. And here comes Peter to spoil our pleasantries.
Ladies, you're most obedient. Here's the whole set of character dead in every word, I suppose.
I am rejoiced you have come, sir. They've been so serious, and Mrs. Teasel as bad as anyone.
That must be very distressing for you, Candace.
Oh, they will allow good qualities to nobody, not even good nature to our friend Miss Sallow.
What, the fat girl?
Nay, her bulk is her misfortune, and when she takes such pains to get rid of it, you ought not to reflect on her.
'Tis true indeed.
Yes, well, I know she almost lives on small acids and whey, laces herself up by pulleys, and in the hottest noon of summer you may see her on a full trot on a squat pony.
I thank you for defending her, Miss Teasel.
Yes, a good defense, truly.
Surely you should not be so very severe. Miss Sallow is a relation of mine by marriage, and as for her person, great allowance is to be made.
But surely she is handsome still. And as for the weakness in her eyes, considering how much she reads by candlelight, it is not to be wondered at.
True, upon my word, I think it particularly graceful, considering she never had the least education. For her mother was a milliner, and her father a sugar baker in Brooklyn.
Oh, both of you are too good-natured.
Yes, damn good-natured. Her own relation. Mercy on me.
For my part, I cannot bear to hear a friend ill spoken of.
No, to be sure.
I would never join in ridiculing a friend, as they constantly tell my cousin Olive. And you all know what pretension she has to be critical in beauty.
Oh yes, for God, she has herself the oddest countenance that ever was seen. 'Tis a collection of all the different features of the countries of the globe.
No, it is indeed. She has an Irish front,
Caledonian locks,
a Dutch nose,
Austrian lips,
the complexion of a Spaniard,
and teeth a la chinoise.
Mercy on my life, and this they call a friend. Pardon me, madam, pardon me. There's no stopping these good gentlemen's tongues. But Candace, I hope you'll not take her part.
Oh, sir, you are a cruel creature. Too phlegmatic for a jest yourself, and too peevish to allow the wit in others.
True, it is more nearly allied to good nature than your ladyship is aware of.
Yes, but Peter is so against scandal, he'll have it put down by Parliament.
There are many would thank them for the bill.
Oh, sir, would you deprive us of our privileges?
Yes, and no one should be permitted to kill characters or run down reputations, but disappointed old widows and qualified maids.
Oh, go, you monster!
But surely you would not be quite so harsh on those who only report what they hear.
Yes, them too, and then in all cases of slander currency, when the drawer of the lie was not to be found, the injured party may come down on any of the endorsers.
Well, for my part, sir, I believe there never was a scandalous tale without some foundation.
Come, lady, shall we sit down? I'll be with them directly.
Sir, you're not leaving us.
You must excuse me, ladies. I'm called away on particular business, but I'll leave my character behind me.
Why, Mrs. Teasle, that man of yours is a strange being. I can tell you some stories of him that would make you laugh heartily. But if he weren't your husband, of course.
Come on, let's hear them.
Goody.
Maria, I see you have no satisfaction in this society.
How is it possible I should? If to raise malicious smiles at the infirmities or misfortunes of those who have never injured us be the province of wit or humour, heaven grant me a double portion of dullness.
Yet they appear more ill-natured than they are. They have no malice at heart.
Then is their conduct more contemptible? For in my opinion, nothing could excuse the intemperance of their tongues but a natural and ungovernable bitterness of mind.
Undoubtedly, madam, it has always been a sentiment of mine that to propagate a malicious truth wantonly is far more despicable than to falsify from revenge. But, Maria, will you treat me thus and oppose your father Peter Teasle's wishes?
Why will you distress me by renewing this subject?
Nay, Maria, you will not treat me thus, but I see my profligate brother is still a favored rival.
Whatever my sentiments are to that unfortunate young man, be assured I shall not feel more bound to give him up, because his distresses have sunk him so low to deprive him of the regard even of a brother.
Nay, Maria, you will not leave me with a frown. By all that's honest, I swear. Miss Teasle, no, nay, you.
Mrs. Teasle, what's this prank? You take her from me? Child, you're wanted over there. What's this prank?
Oh, the most unlucky circumstance in nature. Maria has somehow suspected the tender concern I have for your happiness and threatened to acquaint your husband with her wishes, and I was just endeavoring to reason with her when you so came.
Yes, well, you definitely took a tender mode of reasoning. You usually argue on your knees.
Oh, she's a child, a little bombast, but Miss Teasle, when have you taken your judgment on my face and you so promised?
No, I think that would be imprudent. Besides, you know I admit you're a lover no further than fashion requires.
True, a mere platonic affair, what every park-having wife is entitled to.
Yes, and a woman must not be out of fashion. However, I have so much of my country prejudices left that even though Peter's ill humor may vex me, it shall...
The only revenge in your power. Well, I applaud your moderation.
Go on, you hypocrite, but shall we join the company?
True. It would be a best opportunity together.
Don't wait for Maria. She shan't come to hear any more of your reasoning, I can promise you.
Curious dilemma, truly my politics have led me into. I wanted at first to only ingratiate myself with Miss Teasle so that she might not be my enemy with Maria. And I have, I don't know how, become her serious lover. So that I stand a chance of committing a crime I never meditated. And by losing Maria in the very pursuit, Sincerely, I begin to wish I had not made such a case of gaining so very good a character. For it has led me into so many cursed rogueries, and I doubt I should be exposed at last.
So my old friend is married, eh? A young wife out of the country. That he should have stood bluff to old bachelor so long and sink into a husband at last.
But you mustn't rally him on this subject, Oliver. It's a tender point, I assure you, though he's been married only 7 months.
Oh, well, then he has just been half a year on the stool of repentance. But you say he has entirely given up on Charles, never sees him, eh?
His prejudice against him is astonishing, and greatly increased by jealousy of him with Mrs. Teasle. Whereas the truth is, I believe, if the lady is partial to either of them, his brother is the favourite.
Aye, it is true. There is a set of malicious, prating, prudent gossips, both male and female, who murder characters to kill time and will rob a young man of his good name before he has the years to know the value of it. But don't get me wrong, I do not mean to be prejudiced against my nephew. No, if Charles has done nothing false nor mean, I shall compound for his extravagance.
Well, then you will reclaim him, sir. It gives me new vigour to find that your heart is not turned against him, and that the son of my old master has one friend, however left.
What, shall I forget, Rowley, when I was at his house myself? God, my brother and I were neither of us very prudent youths, but I do not believe you have seen many better men than your old master was.
It is this reflection that gives me assurance that Charles may yet be a credit to his family. Oh, but here comes Peter.
So he does. Mercy on me, he's greatly altered lately and seems to have a married, settled look. One may read husband in his face at this distance.
Oliver! My old friend, welcome to America 1,000 times! It's a long time since we met. 8 years I doubt, Oliver, and many a cross accident in the time.
I have had my share, but what? I hear you are married. Well, my old boy, it can't be helped, so I wish you joy with all my heart.
Thank you, Oliver. Yes, I have entered into the happy states, but we'll not talk of that now.
True, Peter. Friends shouldn't begin on grievances at first meeting. No. Well, so I hear one of my nephews is a wild rogue, eh?
Wild. He's a lost young man indeed, but the other shall make amends. Joseph is a model for the young men of the age. Everybody in the world speaks well of him.
I am sorry to hear it. He has too good a character to be an honest fellow. Everybody speaks well of him. Pah! Then he has stooped as low to fools and knaves as to the honest dignity of virtue.
What, Oliver, do you blame him for not making enemies?
Aye, if he has merit enough to deserve them.
Oh, well, you'll be convinced when you know him. 'Tis edification to hear him converse. He professes the noblest sentiments.
Plague on his sentiments. If he salutes me with a scrap sentence of morality, I shall be sick directly. But don't mistake me, Peter. I do not mean to defend Charles's errors. But before I form my judgment of either of them, I intend to make a trial of their hearts, and my friend Rowley and I have planned something for the purpose.
And Peter shall own he is for once mistaken.
My life on Joseph's honour.
Well, come, give us a bottle of good liquor, and we'll drink the lad's health and tell you our scheme.
Sir, there is a Mr. Stanley who has been recently ruined by a series of undeserved misfortunes and has been flung into prison, and is nearly related to them by their mother.
Aye, a worthy fellow, I remember him. But what is this to lead to?
He has applied by letter to both Joseph and Charles. From the former he's received nothing but evasive promises of future service, whilst Charles has done all that extravagance has left him power to do, and is at this moment in time endeavouring to raise a sum of money which I know he intends for the service of poor Mr. Stanley.
He is my brother's son.
How is Oliver personally to...
I will inform Joseph and Charles that Oliver will assume that Stanley is allowed to apply in person in character. And as neither of them have ever seen him, let Oliver assume his character, thereby giving him fair opportunity of judging at least the benevolence of their dispositions.
This will prove nothing. I make no doubt Charles is coxcomb and thoughtless enough to give away money to poor relations if he had it.
Well, then he shall never want it. I have brought a few pounds home with me, Peter, and I only mean of bestowing them rightly.
What signifies him having an open hand or purse, either if he has nothing left to give? But if you talk of humane sentiments, Joseph is the man.
Below is an informant who I brought for Oliver to examine relative to Charles's affairs.
Pray, let us have her in.
This is Oliver.
I hear you have had great dealings with my nephew, Charles.
Yes, indeed. Although he was ruined before he came to me for assistance.
That's unfortunate indeed, but you've done everything in your power to assist him.
Oh, yes, he knows that. In fact, this very evening I was to bring him a gentleman from the city, one who does not know him, who was to advance him some money.
What, one Charles hasn't had money from before?
Yes, a Mr. Premium.
Oliver, a thought strikes me. You say Charles doesn't know Mr. Premium.
No, not at all.
Well, now, my friend, you may have a better chance of satisfying yourself than by an old romancing tale of a poor relation. Go with Snake and represent Premium, and then I'll vouch for it. You'll see your nephew in all his glory.
I like this idea better than the other, and then I may visit Joseph afterwards as the old relative Stanley.
True, so you may.
But this is taking Charles at a disadvantage, to be sure. However, Snake, you understand Mr. Teasel and will be faithful.
You may depend upon me.
There's not much to learn. The great point, I take it, is to be exorbitant enough in your demands. Hey, Snake?
Yes, that is a very great point.
I will ask him 8 or 10% on the loan at least.
If you ask him that little, you will be discovered immediately. You'll be found out directly.
Well, how much then?
Well, that depends upon the circumstances. If you find him not very anxious for the money, you may ask 40 or 50%. However, if you find him in very great distress and wants the money very bad, you may ask him double that amount.
A good honest trade you're learning, Sir Oliver.
Truly, I think so, and not unprofitable.
Oh, but then you haven't the money yourself and are forced to borrow it of a friend.
In faith, Oliver, Mr. Premium, I mean, you'll soon be a master of the trade.
Oh, never fear. My tutor appears so competent that though Charles lives in the next street, it should be my own fault if I'm not a complete rogue before I turn the corner.
Now I am glad Oliver should be convinced, but you shan't go with him, Ralph. You are partial and may prepare Charles for the other plot.
No, upon my word, sir.
I should be glad to be convinced my suspicions between Charles and Mrs. Teasel were unjust. I've yet to open my mind to Joseph on the subject. I will do it. He will give me his opinion sincerely. So, child, has Joseph returned with you?
No, if he was engaged.
Well, do not reflect. The more you converse with that amiable young man, what return his partiality for you deserves.
Indeed, your frequent importunity on this subject distresses me extremely. You compel me to declare that no man has ever paid me a particular attention whom I would not prefer to Joseph Silver.
So here's perverseness. No, it's Charles whom you prefer. It's clear his follies and his vices have won your heart.
That is unkind. You know I have obeyed you in not seeing, nor corresponding with him. I've heard enough to convince me he is unworthy of my regard. However, I cannot think it contemptible, for although my knowledge severely condemns his vices, my heart suggests some pity for his distresses.
Well, pity him as much as you please, but bestow your heart on a worthier object.
Never to his brother.
Don't compel me to inform you all that you have yet to know the full authority of the Father.
I've little to say, but that you shall not have just reason.
Flames and torches, was ever a man so crossed as I, everything conspiring to fret me. But here comes my helpmate. She appears in great good humor. How happy I should be if I could tease her into loving me over the little.
Lord Peter, I hope you haven't been quarreling with Maria. It amuses me well to be ill-natured when I am not by.
Mrs. Teasel, you might have the power to make me good-natured at all times.
Oh, I wish I had, for I want you to be in a charming, sweet temper. Do be good-humored and give me $200.
$200? What am I to be in a good humor without paying for it? But speak to me thus, and there's nothing I can refuse you. You shall have it, but seal me a bond for the repayment?
No, my note of hand will do just as well.
You shall no longer reproach me for not giving you an independent settlement. Now, I shall surprise you shortly. You'll not call me ungenerous, but shall we always live thus, eh?
My dear Peter, I must assure you, good nature becomes you. You look almost as good as you did before we were married, when you used to walk with me under the elms and tell me stories of what a gallant you were in your youth, and chuck me under the chin and Ask if I thought I could love an old fellow who would deny me nothing.
Yes, and you were as kind and attentive.
Yes, so I was. And I would always take your part when my friends used to abuse you and turn you into ridicule.
Indeed.
Yes, when my cousin Sophie said you were a stiff, peevish old bachelor and laughed at me for thinking of marrying one who might be my father, well, I said I didn't think you were that ugly and you'd make a good sort of husband.
You prophesied right, and we shall certainly be the happiest couple.
And never differ again?
No, never. Though at the same time, my dear Mrs. Teasle, you must watch your temper very narrowly, for in all our little disputes, my dear, if you recollect, my love, you always began first.
I beg your pardon, my dear Sir Peter, but you always gave the provocation.
There, my angel, contradicting isn't the way to keep friends.
Then don't begin it, my love.
Now see, you are going on, you don't perceive you are doing just the very thing, my love, which you know always makes me angry.
Now you know if you'll be angry without cause!
You want to quarrel again?
No, for certain I don't, but if you'll just be angry without reason!
Oh, now see, who begins first?
For sure you do, I said nothing, there is no better.
No, fault's in your own temper.
Just what my cousin Sophie said.
No, it is evident you never cared a pin for me. I was a madman to marry you, a pert, rural coquette who refused half the honest squires in the neighborhood.
And I was a fool to marry you.
Aye, but you were pleased enough to listen to me. You never had such an offer before.
No? Didn't I refuse Jeremy Terrier, who everybody said we'd be a better match because his estate is just as good as yours?
I am done with you, madam. You are an unfeeling, ungrateful. Oh, but there's an end of everything. I now believe you capable of all that's bad. Yes, madam, I now believe the reports relative to you and Charles. Yes, madam, you and Charles are not without grounds.
Be careful, Peter, I'll not be suspect without cause.
Very well, madam. A separate maintenance as soon as you please. Yes. Or a divorce. I'll make an example out of myself for the benefit of all old bachelors. Let us separate, madam.
Yes, agreed, and then we'll be of the same state of mind. We could be the happiest couple and never differ again. I can see you're gonna be in a little bit of a passion, and I don't want to interrupt, so bye! Bye!
Plagues and torture she pretends to keep her temper. Can I make her angry neither? Oh, I am the miserable fellow. I'll not bear her presuming to keep her temper. She may break my heart, but she shan't keep her temper.
I make them good girls go. I make them good girls go bad. I make them good girls go. I make them good girls go. Good girls go. I know you're tired. Yeah, daddy's little girl, just take a bite. Let me shake up your world. 'Cause just one night couldn't be so.
Here, Snake, if you'll stay a moment, I'll try whether Mr. What's the gentleman's name again?
Mr. Snake, what is my name?
Mr. Premium.
Premium. Very well.
To judge by the lackeys, one would believe the master was ruined.
Charles says you must wait. He has company and can't speak with you now.
Perhaps if he knew who it was wanted to see him, he wouldn't have sent such a message.
Yes, he knows you're here. I didn't forget about you, little Premium. No.
Very well. And what may your name be?
Trip, sir. My name is Trip. At your service.
Well then, Mr. Trip, I presume he is seldom without company?
Very seldom, sir. The world says ill-natured things of him, but 'tis all malice. No man is better beloved, sir. He rarely sits down to dinner without a dozen or so particular friends. You may have noticed what an appearance he makes. Nobody dresses better. Nobody throws off faster. Alas, I hear the bell. I believe, gentlemen, I can introduce you now.
If the man be a shadow of his master, this is the temple of dissipation indeed.
For heaven, 'tis true, there is a great degeneracy of our age. For many of our acquaintances have taste, spirit, and politeness, but plague on it, they won't drink.
It is so indeed, Charles. They give in to all the substantial luxuries of the table and abstain from nothing but wine and wit.
Well, there's no doubt that society suffers by it intolerably, for instead of the social spirit of raillery that used to mantle over a glass of bright burgundy, their conversations become just like the spa water they drink, with all the pertinence and flatulence of champagne without its spirit or flavor.
But what are they to do who love play better than wine?
True, there's a Trip who diets himself for gaming and is now under a hazardous regime.
Well, he'll be the worse for it. I mean, what? You wouldn't train a horse for the course by keeping him from the course. For I myself am never so successful as when I'm a little merry. Let me throw down a bottle of champagne, and I'll never lose. Well, I never feel my losses, which is exactly the same thing.
That I can believe.
And who can be a believer in love? Who is an abjurer of wine? Why, 'tis the measure how the lovers know their own heart. For a dozen bumpers to a dozen beauties, and that she floats on top is the maid that hath bewitched you.
No. Be honest, Charles, and tell us your real favor.
Well, I've withheld her only in compassion to you. For if I do, you give her a round of her appears which would be impossible on earth.
Oh, then we'll find some heathen goddess or beauty that will do, I suppose.
Hear them bumpers, you rogue bumpers. Maria! Maria!
Maria who?
Oh, it's too formal to be registered in the Lord's calendar. But beware! Crabtree, beware! We must have beauty superlative. You'll have to excuse me, gentlemen.
Nay, prithee, Charles. Who is this? One of your peerless beauties, I suppose.
Nay, to tell you the truth, is a friend who's called by appointment with a broker and...
No, let's have him in!
Oh! Bid them walk in, Trip. Snake! Say, walk in, Snake, and Mr. Premium, is that the gentleman's name? Sit down. Set chairs, Trip, sit down, Mr. Premium, sit down, Snake. Glasses, Trip. Mr. Premium, let me give you a sentiment. Here's to success in you, sir. Snake, could you give the gentleman a bumper?
No. Mr. Premium, you have demurred at the toast, and therefore must drink from a fishbowl.
Hey!
A fishbowl at least.
Pray, sirs, consider Mr. Premium is a gentleman.
And therefore loves good wine.
Nay, pray, gentlemen, I did not expect this usage.
What you said? Mr. Premium's a stranger.
Odd, I wish I was well out of their company.
Plague on them. If they won't drink with us, we won't sit with them. Come, Trip, there's dice in the other room. Charles, you'll join us once you finish with these gentlemen.
I will. Oh, Crabtree. Well, perhaps I may want you.
I'm always ready. Word, note, or bond is all the same to me.
Mr. Premium, this is Charles. Charles, this is Mr. Premium, a man of honor and secret.
My friend Snake here is a very, very nice woman, but she's a little slow in expression. She'll be an hour giving us her title. Mr. Premium, the state of the matter is this. I am an extravagant young man who's looking to borrow money, and you are a prudent old fellow with money to lend. Now, I am blockhead enough to give 50% sooner than not have it, and you are rogue enough to take 100% rather than not have it at all. So now that you see that we understand each other, we can get to all our business.
Exceeding frank, upon my word. I see, sir, you are not a man of many compliments.
Plain dealing in business is always best.
I like you the better for it. But you are mistaken in one thing. I have no money to lend, but I believe I could procure some of a friend. But then he's an unconscionable dog, isn't he, Snake, and must sell stock to accommodate you, mustn't he?
Oh, yes. You know, I always tell the truth and scorn to tell a lie.
You know, right people to tell the truth generally do. But Mr. Premium, these are trifles. I know money's not to be bought without paying for it.
Well, but what security could you give? You have no land, I suppose.
No, not a molehill nor a twig. But what's in the bell pot out of the window?
Nor any stock, I presume.
It's a few lighting stock, that's just a few pointers and ponies. Mr. Premium, are you at all aware of any of my connections?
Why, to say the truth, I am.
Well then, you will know that I have in England a very rich uncle, Sir Oliver Silvers, of whom I have the greatest expectation.
That you have a wealthy uncle I have heard, but how your expectations will turn out is more, I believe, than you can say.
No, there can be no mistaking it. They tell me I am his prodigious favourite, and that he talks of leaving me everything.
Indeed, this is the first I've heard of it.
It is certainly the case. Snake, tell him.
Oh, yes, most certainly. I'll swear to it.
They'll persuade me presently. I'm at Dover.
Mr. Premium, this is what we're going to do. I propose a post-obit on Sir Oliver's life, and although the old fellow has been very good to me, I should be very sorry if anything should happen to him.
Not more than I should, I assure you. But the bond you mentioned happens to be the worst security you could offer me, for I might live to be 100 and never see the principal.
Oh, no, you wouldn't, for as soon as Sir Oliver dies, I know you will come at me for the money.
Then I should be the most unwelcome dun you ever had in your life.
Well, I suppose you think Sir Oliver's life is too good?
No, I do not. Though I have heard he is as hale and healthy as any man of his years in Christendom.
No, there can be no mistaking it. They say the climate has hurt him terribly. Poor Uncle Oliver. Oh, he breaks the pace so much that his nearest relations wouldn't even recognize him.
No. So much altered lately that his nearest relations would not recognize him. God!
You like that little pre?
No, I do not.
Well, you do, because that mends your cause.
But I hear Sir Oliver is coming over. Nay, some say he has actually arrived.
No. There can be no mistaking. He's in London at this very moment, isn't he, Snake?
Oh, yes, most certainly.
Well, you must know better than I, though I have it from pretty good authority, haven't I, Snake?
Yes, most undoubtedly.
But, sir, given that you want a few hundreds immediately, is there nothing you could dispose of?
Well, how do you mean?
For example, I heard that your father left behind him a great quantity of massy old plate.
Oh, it's gone long ago, but Snake can tell you more on the matter.
Well, then it was also known that his library was the most valuable and compact.
Vastly so for such a private gentleman. But I've always been more of the communicative disposition and thought it a shame to keep all that knowledge to myself.
So nothing of the family property left, I suppose?
No. Oh, not unless you've got a mind to old paintings. You've got a room full of the old ancestors, and if you like the old paintings, then you can have them in a bargain.
Sure, you wouldn't sell your forefathers, would you?
Every one of them to the highest bidder.
What, your great-uncles and aunts?
I have my great-grandfathers and grandmothers too.
Have you no bowels for your own kindred?
Oh, don't be angry, little broker. You'll have them a good price.
Well, I'll be the purchaser. I can dispose of the family canvas. I will never forgive him this. Never.
Charles, what keeps you?
Oh, Crabtree, we're going to have a sale. A little premium here is going to buy all my ancestors.
Oh, burn your ancestors.
Well, no, he may do that afterwards if he wishes. But Crabtree, why don't you come along with us and be our auctioneer?
Have with you if that's the case. I can handle a hammer as well as any dice box. Going.
Yeah, I'm Snake. You could be an appraiser if we need one. Mr. Premium, you don't seem to like this business.
Oh, yes, I do, yes. Vastly, yes. I think it is a rare joke to sell one's family at auction.
Well, indeed, but if I should need assistance, where the plague shall I get it from, if not from my own family?
I will never forgive you. Never. And in my opinion, a goodly collection.
Yes, well, these are done in the true spirit of portrait painting, and no volunteer grace or expression, not like your modern Raphaels, who capture the image but actually make it independent of you. No, the merit of these is in the intricate likeness, all stiff and awkward as the originals, and like nothing human nature presides.
We shall never see such figures of men again.
Well, I hope not. Now you see, Mr. Premium, what a domestic character I am, with all my family here. Oh, Mr. Auctioneer, get your pulpit. Let's begin. First of all, we have my great-uncle Richard Ravelin. Yes, he was a very good general in his day. Fought in all the Duke of Marlborough's wars. Got that Caliban at the Battle of Malficay. What do you bid for him? I mean, look at him! I mean, there's a hero, not clipped in modern feathers like your captains are today, but enveloped in wig and regimentals, like a general should be. What do you bid?
Bid him speak.
Mr. Premium would have you speak.
Shall have him for $10. That's not too dear for a staff officer.
His famous Uncle Richard for $10. Fine, I'll take him at that.
Crabtree, knock down Uncle Richard. Now next we have a maiden sister of his, my great Aunt Deborah. Here she is, done by Miller in his best fashion, esteemed a very formidable likeness. You see, she's feeding her flock in the field. You shall have her for $5, and that's not too much. Sheep alone are worth her money.
Poor Deborah, a woman who sets such a value on herself. $5. She's mine.
Next we have a grandfather of my mother's, a learned judge. Very respected on the Western Circuit, and Snake, what are you bidding at?
40 cents.
40 cents! God's life, man! Don't bid me the price of his wig! Mr. Premium, you have more respect for the wool sack. We'll knock his lordship down to 60 cents.
By all means.
Gone. Next we have Sir William and Walter Blunt, Esquire, both esteemed members of Parliament, and noted speakers. And I do believe this is the first time they've ever been bought or sold.
That is extraordinary indeed. I'll take them at your own price for the honour of Parliament.
Must we be retailing in this fashion all day? Do let us do a deal wholesale. I mean, what do you say, Mr. Premium? Give me $300 for the rest of the family in the lump?
That would be the best way, aye.
Well, anything to accommodate you, they're mine. But there is one portrait which you have always so passed over.
What, you mean the little old fellow on the corner?
Yes, I mean that, though I don't think him so ill-looking a fellow by any means, no.
Oh, that's my Uncle Oliver. It was done before he went to England.
That? Your Uncle Oliver? Why, then you'll never be friends. That, now to me, is as stern a looking rogue as I ever saw. An unforgiving eye. Damn disinheriting countenance. An inveterate knave. Don't you agree, Mr. Premium?
Upon my soul, sir, I do not. I think his is as honest a face as any in the room, dead or alive. But I suppose Uncle Oliver goes out with the rest of the lumber.
No, hang it. I'll keep it. The old fellow's been very good to me, and I'll keep his picture while I've room to hang it up.
The rogue's my nephew after all. But, sir, I have somehow taken a fancy to that picture.
I'm sorry I'll not be parting with it. Haven't you got enough already?
But when I take a whim in my head, I don't value money. I'll give you as much for him as for all the rest.
Don't tease me, Master Broker!
How like his father the dog is. Come. Look, here's a draft for your son.
What's this for $800?
You will not let Sir Oliver go?
No, I tell thee once more.
Well, then never mind the difference. We'll settle that another time. Come, sir. You are very good.
Oh, here's a whimsical old fellow. You will prepare lodgings for these paintings.
Oh, yes, I'll send for them in a day or two.
Hold, send a gentle conveyance. They're used to riding in their own horse and carriage.
I will. For all but Oliver.
All but the little twirl of the crown.
And you're fixed on that?
Pre-retired.
Good day. Come, Snake. Let me hear now who dares call him profligate.
That is the oddest genius of the sort I ever met with.
He's the prince of all brokers, that's fair. I wonder how Snake got to know such an honest fellow. Oh, Raleigh! How are you? We're just in time to take leave of your acquaintance.
Yes, I heard they were going. But I wonder you can have such spirits and have so many distresses.
What? There's the point. My distresses are so many at the moment that I can't afford to part with my spirits. But I will be rich and splendid, all in good time. Oh, I suppose you're surprised that I'm not more upset with parting with so many of my nearest relations. Well, they never moved a muscle, so why should I?
There's no making you serious a moment.
No, Faith, I am so now. Here, I'm going to take it. Take this and get it changed directly. And then take $100 of it to Old Stanley.
$100, consider only.
No, make haste. Old Stanley's needs are very pressing. And I fear if you don't hurry up and someone else will call with a better right to the money.
Ah, there's a point. I'll never cease dunning you on the old proverb.
Oh, be just before you're generous. Well, I would if I could, but justice is like a hobbling old belding. Like I ain't generous to keep up me for the life of me.
Oh, yet Charles, believe me, 1 hour's reflection.
To be sure, but by heaven, when I have, I'll give. So, damn your economy. Tootie pip.
So scandalous.
from Miss Teasle?
Not a word.
I'm surprised she hasn't sent if she's prevented from coming. Peter Teasle certainly does not suspect me yet. I wish not to lose his daughter through this scrape I've drawn myself in with his wife. However, Charles's imprudence and bad character certainly points in my favor.
That must be the lady.
I dip his hands play in this affair. Teasle has maybe grown suspicious of my views towards Maria. She must not be let into that secret. At least think I have her more in my power.
Oh, what, have you been very impatient? Oh, don't pretend to be impatient. I vow I couldn't come before.
Madam, punctuality is a species of constancy, a very unfashionable quality in a lady.
Upon my word, you should pity me. Did you know that Peter has become so ill-tempered of me of late, and so jealous of Charles, too? That's the best of the story.
I'm glad my scandalous friends keep that up.
I just wish you would let my stepdaughter Maria see him, then maybe he would be convinced. Don't you agree, Joseph?
Indeed, I do not. Oh, certainly I do, madam. Then you'd also be convinced how wrong your suspicions were of me having any design on that silly girl.
Yes, well, I'm inclined to believe you, for I could never presume why she should have so many admirers.
Oh, for her fortune, nothing else.
Yes, for though she certainly is very pretty, she lacks conversation in the world. She's very grave and reserved, and though her eyes have no meaning, she seldom talks nonsense.
No, she has very fine eyes.
Why, yes, though she has. Though sometimes one fancies there's a little sort of squint.
A squint you cannot possibly.
Yes, I vow. Come, there is a left-handed Cupid in one eye.
I believe Sabrina's quite corrupted you.
No, indeed. She's raised many scandalous tales of me of late, which you know one always hears from one common friend or another. Isn't it provoking to hear the most ill-natured things said to one of my friends, Sabrina, has circulated, well, I don't know how many scandalous tales of me. All without foundation. That is what vexes me.
To be sure, that is the provoking circumstance. Without foundation, yes. There lies the mortification indeed. For when a slanderous story is believed against one, there is no comfort quite out of the consciousness of having deserved it.
Well, then I'd forgive their malice. But to attack me, who's so innocent, who never said an ill-natured thing about anybody, well, that is a friend. And Sir Peter, to make him so suspicious and peevish when I know the integrity of my own heart.
But 'tis your own fault that you suffer. For when a husband entertains a groundless suspicion and withdraws confidence from his wife, the original compact is broke, and she owes it to the honor of her sex to endeavor to outlive it.
So, if he suspects me without cause, it goes to follow that, to cure his jealousy, I should give him reason for it.
Undoubtedly. For your husband should never be deceived in you. In that case, it becomes you to be frail and compliment to his discernment.
'Tis very true.
Now, if you will make one trifling faux pas, you can't conceive how cautious you would grow and how ready to humor and agree with your husband.
Do you think so?
Undoubtedly. Oh, madam. Certainly, at present, you're caught in too much scandal. It would cease at once. Your character is like a person caught in a plethora, absolutely dying of too much health.
So I perceive your prescription is that I should sin in my own defense, part of my virtue, in order to save my reputation.
Exactly so.
Well, that is the oddest doctrine and the newest receipt for avoiding calumny.
An infallible one, believe me. Prudence like experience must be paid for.
Well, if my understanding were once convinced.
So yes, your understanding should be convinced. Heaven forbid I should do anything you thought wrong. No, I have too much honor to desire.
Well, why don't you just leave honor out of the equation?
My mind's telling me no. But my body telling me yeah. Baby, I don't want to hurt nobody, but there is something that I must confess.
Damn it, blockhead, what is it?
Oh, I beg your pardons. But I thought you wouldn't want Mr. Teasle to arrive unannounced.
Teasle, the devil!
I wrote, if only my prudence, Sir Peter!
He's on his way.
Mr. Surface ever improving himself?
Oh, sir, I beg your pardon. I've been dozing over a stupid book.
Well, I have a little private business. If we were alone...
You needn't stay.
Oh, no, sir.
Please, sir, sit down, I beg.
Well, now we are alone. There is a subject, my dear friend, on which I wish to unburden my mind to you, a point of the greatest moment to my peace. In short, my good friend, Mrs. Teasel's conduct of late has made me very unhappy.
Indeed, I'm very sorry to hear it.
It's too plain she has not the least regard for me, but what's worse, I have pretty good authority to suspect that she has formed an attachment to another.
Indeed, you astonish me.
Between ourselves, I think I have discovered the person.
How? You alarm me exceedingly.
I knew you would sympathize with me.
No, to be sure, such a discovery would hurt me just as much as it would you.
I am convinced of it. It is a happiness to have a friend with one whom can share one's secrets. But pray, have you no guess whom I mean?
I haven't the most distant idea. It can't be Sir Benjamin Backbite.
Oh, no. What say you to Charles?
My brother? Impossible.
The goodness of your heart misleads you. You judge of others by yourself.
'Tis true. The heart that is conscious of its own integrity is ever slowest to credit another's treachery.
True, but your brother has no sentiment. You never hear him talk so.
To be sure, but I can't help but feel Miss Teasel herself has too much principle.
What's her principle against the flattery of a handsome, lively young fellow?
It's very true.
And you know, the difference in our ages makes it improbable that she should have any great affection for me. And if she were to be frail and I were to make it public...
No, you must never make it public.
Then the fact that my nephew of my good friend Sir Oliver should be the person to attempt such an injury hurts me more nearly.
Undoubtedly.
I that was in a manner left his guardian, in whose house he was so often entertained, never in my life denied him my advice.
Oh, 'tis not to be credited, sir. There may be a man capable of such baseness, to be sure, but for my part, till I'm offered some positive proofs, I cannot believe it. However, if this should be proved on him, then he is no longer a brother of mine. I disclaim kindred with him. For the man who breaks the laws of hospitality and attempts the wife of his mentor deserves to be branded as the pest of society.
What a difference there is between you. What noble sentiments.
Yet I cannot feel that Miss Teasel herself has too much honor.
I'm sure I wish to think well of her and to remove all grounds of quarrel between us. She has lately reproached me more than once of having not made an independent settlement on her. And in a last call she hinted she should not break her heart if I was dead. I have a draft of 2 deeds which I wish to have your opinion on. By one she shall have 800 a year independent while I live, and by the other the bulk of my fortune after my death.
This conduct, sir, is indeed truly generous.
I'm convinced she should have no cause to complain, but I should not have her acquainted with the latter instance of my affection yet a while.
Nor I, if I could help it.
And now, my dear boy, if you please, we shall talk over your hopes of the situation with Marie.
Oh, sir, another time, if you please.
I am sensibly chagrined at the little progress you seem to make in her affection.
Pray, sir, I beg you will not mention it.
You seem so adverse to acquainting Mrs. Teasel with your passion. I'm sure she's not your enemy in the affair.
Oh, sir, I'm really too much concerned with what we've been discussing to bestow any sentiment on my own concerns. Well, sir?
It's your brother, sir. He was conversing with a gentleman in the street. He says he knows you are within.
Oh, damn it, Blockhead, I'm not within. I'm out of contact.
Say, hold, a thought has struck me. You shall be in attendance today.
Well, let him up.
Now, sir, oblige me, I entreat you. Before Charles comes, let me conceal myself somewhere, and then you tax him on the point we've been talking, and his answer shall satisfy me at once.
Oh, sir, would you have me join in so mean a trick? To grill my brother, too?
You say you're sure he's innocent. If so, you do him the greatest service in giving him an opportunity to clear himself, and you shall set my heart at rest. Come, you shall not refuse me. Here, under this pile. Hey, what the devil? There seems to be one listed here already. I'll swear I saw a petticoat.
Well, the truth of it, sir, is that it's a silly freshman, a silly rogue that plagues me, and having some character on your coming, she died beneath the pile.
Ah, I see. But she's overheard all I've been saying of my wife.
Oh. 'Twill go no further, you may depend on it.
No? No. Then let it hear it out. Here's a box will do as well.
Difficult situation I'm in to part man and wife in this manner.
Not steal out.
Oh, be stealing my life.
Joseph, please.
In, good sir.
Could you not lock it in?
Back, my angel.
You're sure the go won't
God, please, I wish I had locked that trunk.
Oh, hello, brother, what's the matter? Your fellow wouldn't let me in at first. Are you with company?
Nay, brother, I assure you.
Where's Sir Peter? I thought he was with you.
Oh, he was, but on hearing you're coming, he chose not to stay.
Oh, well, was the old man afraid I wanted to borrow money off him, was he?
No, but you've recently given that worthy man grounds for great uneasiness.
I say I do that to a great deal of worthy men. But pray, how so?
Well, to be plain with you, brother, he thinks you're endeavoring to gain Miss Teasel's affections from him.
Who, I? What, has the old man discovered that he's got a young wife, has he? Oh, what's worse, has she discovered that she's got an old husband?
Oh, it will give Sir Peter great satisfaction to hear this.
Well, to be sure, I once thought the young lady had taken a fancy, but on my soul, I never gave it the least encouragement. Besides, you know my attachment to Maria.
But if Miss Teasel was to display the fondest partiality...
Now look here, Joseph. I would never deliberately do a dishonorable action, but if a pretty woman was to throw herself at me, and that same pretty woman was married to a man old enough to be my father, well, I would be obliged to borrow a little of your morality. But look here, Joseph, you surprised me exceedingly by naming me with Lady Teasel. For I always understood you were her favorite.
Oh, Charles, this retort is foolish.
Nay, I swear I've seen you two exchange significant glances.
Nay, brother, I beg you will not mention it.
No, I'm being serious. Do you not remember the time when I walked in and...
Oh, hush, sir.
Together all the time your fellow
No,
informed me that...
Teasel's in the room, he's overheard all you've been discussing.
Teasel? Where is he?
There.
Oh, I'll have him out, I'll have him out.
No.
Sir, come into court!
My old mentor turned inquisitor. Here to take evidence against me incognito.
Give me your hand, Charles. I believe I have suspected you wrongfully, but don't blame Joseph. 'Twas my fault.
Indeed.
But I acquit you. I promise you I do not think so near of ill as you as I did before. What I have heard has given me great satisfaction.
Well, then it's just as well he didn't hear any more, isn't it, Joseph?
You would have retorted on him.
Yes, it was all a joke. It was all a joke.
Yes, I know his honor too well.
But you might as well have suspected him as well as me in the matter. Sabrina, stop it by all means. Gentlemen, there's another person here to visit me on particular business.
Well, you may see him in the other room. Sir Peter and I have not seen each other in a long time, and there's something I need to ask him.
Let's not be left together. I'll contrive to send her and return directly.
Oh, Charles, if you acquainted more nearly with your brother, one might indeed hope for your reformation. Joseph is a man of sentiment. Well, there is nothing so noble in the world as a man of sentiment.
He's too noble by half. He's so apprehensive of his good name, or so he calls it, that he'd sooner let a girl into his house as the priest.
No, come, you wrong him. No, Joseph is no rake, but he's no such saint in that respect either. He had a girl with him when I called.
Joseph?
Yes.
You jest.
And the best of the jest is, she's in the room now.
The devil she is.
Shall I tell you?
Where is she? Underneath that pile of coats, we must come there.
No, you shan't keep.
Oh, we'll just take a look.
No, Joseph, no.
Lady Teasel for all that's wonderful.
Lady Teasel by all that's horrible.
This is one of the smartest girls I ever saw. It seems you've all been diverting yourselves in a game of hide and seek, but I can't figure out who is out of the secret. So, I beg your ladyship to inform me. Not a word. Brother, perhaps you can explain this matter to me? Sir Peter, although I found you in the dark, it seems perhaps you are not so now? I'll mute. Well, I can't figure this out for the life of me, but it seems you all understand each other perfectly well. Brother, I'm sorry to see you give a worthy man grounds for much uneasiness, and sir, there is nothing in this world more noble than a man of sentiment.
Sir, notwithstanding, it would seem as though appearances are against me, but if you'll allow me some patience, I'll explain everything to your satisfaction.
If you please.
Well, Miss Teasel, knowing my pretensions towards your daughter Maria, that is, I say, also being apprehensive of the jealousy of your temper, and knowing my friendship to the family, she, sir, called here so I might explain those pretensions further, and then, as you came, she withdrew, being apprehensive, as I said, of your jealousy, and That you may depend on it is the truth of the matter.
A very clear account, upon my word. I dare swear the lady will vouch for every article of it.
Not one word of it, Peter.
Oh. Don't you think it worthwhile to agree in the lie?
There is not one syllable of truth in what this gentleman has told you.
I believe you upon my soul, man.
Madam, you'll betray me?
Good Mr. Hypocrite, by your leave, I shall speak for myself.
Let her alone, sir. You'll find she'll make out a better story than you without prompting.
Sir Peter, I came hither on no matter regarding your daughter, even ignorant of this gentleman's pretensions towards her. I came, seduced by his insidious arguments, at least to listen to his pretended passions, to sacrifice your honor for his baseness.
Now I believe the truth is coming indeed.
The woman's mad!
She has recovered her senses, and by your arts have furnished her with the means.
Peter, I do not expect you to credit me, but with the tenderness that you have expressed for me, which I know you think I have not witnessed, has penetrated my heart. If I had to leave without the shame of this discovery, well, my future life should have spoken the sincerity of my gratitude.
As for this insinuating hypocrite who would so seduce the wife of his too credulous friend, well, I now behold him in a light so despicable that I will never respect myself for having listened to him.
Notwithstanding, heaven knows
That you are a villain, and so I leave you to your conscience.
You would too rash, sir. Usually hear me out. The man who shuts out conviction by refusing to. Mr. Stanley, and why should you think I would see him? You must know he came to ask something.
Well, I shouldn't have let him in, but that Miss Rowley came to the door with him.
Psh, blockhead, to suppose I should now be in a position to receive visits from poor relations? Oh. Well, let the fellow up then.
I will, sir. Actually, sir, I wrote a poem about your recent misfortunes called The Rogue Defeated.
Go, fool! Sure, fortune never played a man of my policy such a trick before. My character with Mr. Teasle, my hopes with Maria, destroyed in an instant. I'm in a rare humour to listen to other people's distresses. I shan't be able to bestow a benevolent sentiment on old Stanley. And, oh, here he is, an old Rowley with him. Oh, I must try to recover myself and put a little charity into my face.
What, does he avoid us? That was he, was it not?
It was, sir, but I doubt you were coming a little too abruptly. His nerves are so weak that the mere sight of a poor relation would be too much for him. I should have gone first to bring you to him.
A plague of his nerves. Yet this is he whom Peter extols as a man of the most benevolent way of thinking.
As to his way of thinking, I can't pretend to decide. For to do him justice, he appears to have as much speculative benevolence as any, though he is seldom so sensual as to indulge in the exercise of it. But he's coming, and I mustn't appear to interrupt you. And immediately as you leave him, I'll come into a natural character.
Oh, I don't like the complacence of his features.
Sir, I beg you 10,000 pardons for giving you a moment wait, Mr. Stanley.
At your service!
I have not the pleasure of knowing you, Mr. Stanley, but it's a great satisfaction to see you look so well. I think you were nearly related to my mother, Mr. Stanley.
I was there, so nearly so that my present poverty, I fear, may do discredit to her wealthy children.
Dear sir, there needs no apology. He that is in distress, though a stranger, has every right to claim kindred with the wealthy. I only wish I was of that class and could offer you even some small relief.
If your uncle Sir Oliver were here, I should have a friend.
Oh, I wish he was here with all my heart. You should not want an advocate with him, sir, believe me.
I should not need one. My distresses would recommend me. But I had imagined that his bounty had enabled you to become the agent of his charity.
My dear sir, you are strangely misinformed. Uncle Oliver is a very worthy sort of man, but avarice, Mr. Stanley, is the vice of age. I will tell you in confidence, what he has done for me has been a mere nothing. And though many others chose to think otherwise, for my part, I never chose to contradict the reports.
What, has he never transmitted you stocks, bonds, shares?
No, nothing of the kind. I mean, a few presents here and there. Tea, hobnobs, licorice of all sorts, Kinder Eggs, a little more, believe me.
His gratitude for £12,000, tea and Kinder Eggs.
Then, my dear sir, you have heard, I doubt not, of the extravagance of my brother. There are very few who would credit what I've done for that unfortunate young man.
Not I for one.
Oh, the sums I have lent him. I've been exceedingly to blame. It was an amiable weakness, though I chose not to defend it. And now I feel doubly culpable, because it has deprived me of the power of serving you, Mr. Stanley, as my heart direct.
Dissembler. Then you cannot assist me, sir.
At present, it grieves me to say I cannot. But you may depend on hearing from me when I can be of service to you.
I am extremely sorry.
Not more than I am, believe me. To pay without the power to relieve is far worse than to ask and be denied.
Sweet sir, you are too good.
You're very obedient.
You're most obsequious.
You may depend on hearing from me when I can be of service.
Your ever grateful and perpetual humble servant.
In the meantime, I wish you good health and spirits.
Now I'm satisfied.
I was apprehensive of interrupting you, though my business demands immediate attention, as this note will inform you.
Always happy to see old Rowley. How? Oliver's surface? My uncle's arrived?
He is indeed, and impatient to embrace his worthy nephew.
Well, why did you not tell me this when you came before?
I saw you have particular business, but I must be gone to inform your brother and appoint him here to meet his uncle. He'll be with you in a quarter of an hour.
So he says. I'm strangely overjoyed at his coming. Never to be so sure of anything so damned unlucky.
You will be delighted to see how well he looks.
Oh, I'm rejoiced to hear it.
I'll tell him how impatient you expect him.
Do, pray, give him my best duty and affections. Surely I can't begin to express the sensations I feel at the thought of seeing him. Oh, certainly his coming at this time is the cruelest piece of ill fortune.
New York, I love you, but you're bringing me down. New York, I love you, but you're bringing me down. Like a rat in a cage, pulling minimum wage. New York, I love you, but you're bringing me down.
Dear heart, how provoking! I am not mistress of half these circumstances. We will have the whole affair on the newspapers, with the names of the parties at length before I have dropped the sword at a dozen houses. Benjamin, you've heard, I suppose?
Of Lady Teazle.
And Mr. Teazle's discovery.
Oh, the strangest piece of business, to be sure.
Well, I was never so surprised in my life. I am very sorry for all parties indeed.
Mr. Teazle was so partial to Joseph.
Joseph? But 'twas with Charles Lady Teazle was detected.
Oh, certainly not. Joseph was the gallant.
No, Charles was the man. Joseph brought Mr. Teazle on purpose to discover them. I had it from one.
I had it from one.
Who had it from one who had it?
I had it immediately.
But here's Sabrina. Perhaps she knows the whole affair.
So, my dear Candace, here's a sad affair of Our Lady Teazle.
Who could have thought it?
Well, there's no trusting to appearances, though indeed she was always too lively.
To be sure, her manners were far too free, but she was very young.
And had indeed some good qualities.
Indeed she did, but have you heard the particulars?
No, but everybody says that Joseph...
Aha! There, told you. Joseph was the man.
No, the assignation was with Charles.
Charles? You alarm me, Candace.
Yes, he was the lover. Joseph do him justice was only the informer.
Well, I'll not dispute with you, Candace, but be that as it may, I hope that Mr. Teasel's wound...
Mr. Teasel's wound? Mercy on me. I did not hear a word of their fighting, nor I a syllable.
No. What, no word of the duel?
Not a word.
Oh, Lord, yes, they fought before they left the room. Take that.
No, with pistols. I have it on undoubted authority.
Crabtree, then it's all true.
Yes, and Teasel dangerously wounded.
Mercy on me, poor sir.
Yes, although Charles would have avoided the matter if he could have done.
I knew Charles was the person.
He knows nothing of the matter.
On my life, allow others to know something too. A pair of pistols lay on the view.
I heard nothing of this.
Teasel forced Charles to pick one up. And they fired. It seems at nearly the same time. Charles's shot took place as I tell. But Teasel's missed. But what is extraordinary? The ball grazed out of the window at a right angle and hit the postman, who was just coming in with a double letter from Northamptonshire.
His account is more circumstantial, I must confess. But I believe mine to be the true one for all that.
I must have better information. But pray, where is Mr. Teasel at present?
Oh, they took him home.
And Lady Teasel is attending to him, I suppose?
Yes, I saw a member of the faculty enter just before me.
No, but who comes here?
Oh, this is he, the supply teacher, depend on it.
Nah.
Well, certainly it is the supply. Now we shall know.
Well, sir,
How's Teasel?
what hopes?
Wasn't it a wound with a small sword?
A bullet to the thorax for 100.
A wound with a small sword and a bullet in the thorax. Are you mad, good people?
Perhaps you are not the supply.
Well, I'm to thank you for my degree, if I am.
A friend of Teasel's only.
No.
But, sir, you must have heard something of the, accident.
Not a word.
Not of Teasel being dangerously wounded.
The devil he is.
He was run through the body!
No! Shot in the breast!
By one Joseph Service.
Nay, by his brother!
You seem to differ strangely in your accounts, but you agree that Peter is dangerously wounded.
Oh yes, we agree in that.
Well then, for a man in his situation, he is the most imprudent man alive. For here he comes, walking as if nothing was the matter. Charles, Peter, you are coming good time, I promise you, for we have just given you over.
This is the most sudden recovery.
So all over the town already.
Indeed, Mr. Teasel has been so good a husband, he is very much to be pitied.
Plague on your pity, ma'am. I desire none of it.
But, sir, you must not mind the laughing and jests you may meet with on this occasion.
I desire to be the master in my own house.
'Tis no uncommon case, that's one comfort.
I insist on you leaving my classroom
We will make the best
immediately.
report of you we can.
Leave now!
And tell how hardly you've been
Get
treated.
out!
And how patiently you bear
Oh,
it.
fiends bite with fury so that their own venom would choke
They
them.
are very provoking indeed, Sir Peter.
I heard high words. What is wrong with you, sir?
What signifies asking, do I ever pass a day without my vexations?
Well, I'm not inquisitive. I came merely to tell you that I have seen both my nephews in the manner we proposed.
A precious couple they are. Oliver, we live in a damn wicked world, and the fewer we praise, the better.
To frighten you no longer, sir, we are acquainted with your new situation. I met Mrs. Teasel coming from Joseph, so humbled that she deigned to request me to be her advocate with you.
Does Sir Oliver know all too?
Oh, I have been vastly diverted with the story. Yes, every circumstance. I should have loved to see your face as the scene was exposed. But come, Peter, I shouldn't laugh at you, although upon my soul I can't help it.
Don't restrain your mirth on my account. No, it doesn't hurt me at all. I laugh at the whole affair myself. I think being the standing jest for all one's acquaintance a very happy situation. I shall certainly leave town tomorrow and never look mankind in the face again.
Without affectation, sir, you may despise the ridicule of fools, but I see Mrs. Teasel approaching, and surely you must desire reconciliation as earnestly as she does.
Perhaps my being here prevents her coming to you. I'll leave Rowley to mediate between you. I must get on with the issue of my nephews.
We'll follow?
She's not coming here, you see, Rowley.
No, but she is sat in full view of us. See how she's in tears.
She seems indeed to wish I should go to her. How dejected she appears.
And you will refrain from comforting her?
Well, now I know what not to think. Rowley, you remember the letters I found of hers, evidently intended for Charles.
Mere forgeries, sir. Laid in your way on purpose. This was one of the points I intend Snake to give you conviction on.
I wish I were once satisfied of that. She looks this way. A remarkably elegant turn of head she has. Rowley, I'll go to her.
Certainly.
When people know we're reconciled, they will laugh at me 10 times more.
Then let them laugh and retort their malice by showing them that you are happy in spite of it.
I will do it. And we will certainly be the happiest couple in the country.
Oh, nay, sir, he who lays aside
Hold,
suspicion...
Rowley. Don't let me hear you utter anything like a sentiment again. I have had enough of them to serve me the rest of my life.
Maybe alright, maybe I'm wrong, and just maybe alright. And maybe mother told you true, and there'll always be somebody there for you, and you'll never be alone. But maybe she's wrong, and maybe I'm right, and just maybe she's wrong. Maybe she's wrong, and maybe I'm right, and if so, here's there.
Impossible! Will not Mr. Teasle immediately be reconciled to Charles, and of consequence, no longer oppose his union to Maria? The thought is distraction to me. Compassion furnish a remedy? No! Nor cunning either! Oh, I was a fool, an idiot, to lead with such a blunderer!
Well, I confess I deviated from the direct road of Ron, but I don't think we're so totally defeated neither.
No?
Tell me that you've made trial of Snake since we last met and that you still believe her faithful to us?
I do believe so.
And that she has undertaken, should it be necessary, to swear and prove that at this time Charles is contracted by vows and honour to your ladyship, which we still have some former letters to serve in support.
This indeed might have assisted.
Come, it is not too late yet, but hush. Sir Uncle Oliver, we'll talk more when he's gone. Confounded hard after such bad fortune to be baited by one's confederate in evil. By all events, my character is so much better than Charles's. Oh, certainly This is not Uncle Oliver, but Mr. Stanley again. Oh, Mr. Stanley, why have you come back to play me once more? You must not stay upon my word.
Sir, I hear your Uncle Oliver is expected here. And so he's been so penurious to you. I'll see what he'll do for me.
Sir, you must not stay at this present time. Come some other time, and I promise you shall be assisted.
Nay, Sir Oliver and I must be acquainted.
Damn it, sir, then I must insist on you quitting the room directly.
Nay, sir!
Sir, this is such insolence by all accounts.
What the devil is going on? Oh, my old broker. Mr. Premium, you alright?
What, so he's been with you too, has he?
Well, sure he has. Don't tell me you borrowed money off him as well.
Borrowing? No, but you know we expect Uncle Oliver.
Oh God, that's true. And he can't find us with the broker here.
Yet Mr. Stanley insists.
Stanley? His name's Premium.
No, Stanley.
No, Premium.
Well, never mind it, Twitch. You can't stay. That's Uncle Oliver upon my word.
Certainly must go.
Gentlemen!
Sir, by heavens, you shall go!
Certainly you must be out!
This violence!
It is your own fault!
You must leave!
Oliver, what in the name of wonder? Here are dutiful nephews assault their uncle at his first visit.
Yes, 'tis well we came in to rescue you.
Peter, my friend, and Rowley too. Look on that elder nephew of mine. You know what he has already received from my bounty, and you know also that I would have gladly given half my fortune is held in trust to him. Judge then my disappointment when I find him to be destitute of truth, charity, and gratitude.
However, I should be surprised at this declaration if I had not myself found him to be selfish, hypocritical, and treacherous.
Yes, and if you please not guilty to these, well then let him call me to his character.
And I believe we need add no more. If he knows himself, he will consider it perfect punishment that he is known to the world.
If they talk this way to honesty, what will they say to me by and by?
As for that prodigal, his brother there...
Aye, now comes my turn. Oh, those damn family portraits will ruin me.
Uncle Oliver, will you honour me with a hearing?
I wish my brother would make one of his long speeches now, so I might recollect myself a little.
What, you would undertake to vindicate yourself entirely?
I trust I could.
Nay, sir, if you desert your roguery in its distress, you have even less principle than I thought you had. As for you, you would justify yourself too, I suppose?
No, not that I know of, sir.
Oh, what? Little Premium has been let too much into the secret.
Well, it's true, it is a family secret and should remain so.
Come, Charles, I know you cannot speak of Charles's follies with anger.
No more I can, nor with gravity either. Peter, you know the rogue bargained with me for all his ancestors. Sold me judges and generals by the foot and made an answer as cheap as broken china.
I did make a little free with the family canvas, that's true, and my ancestors certainly may rise. But look, believe me sincere when I tell you that if I'm not mortified at the revelation of my follies, it is only because at this moment I feel the warmest satisfaction in seeing you, my liberal benefactor.
Charles, I believe you.
Yes, but Sir Oliver, there is one Charles longs to be reconciled with more.
I have heard of his attachment there, and with the lady's pardon, if I construe right that blush.
Well, child, speak your sentiments.
I have little to say, but that I shall rejoice to hear that he is happy. Whatever claim I had to his affection, I willingly resign to someone with a better title.
But how, Maria?
What's the mystery now? When he appeared an incorrigible rake, you'd give your hand to no one else, but now he's likely to reform, I'll warrant you'll not have him.
His own heart, and Sabrina know the cause.
Sabrina?
Brother, it is with great concern that I'm obliged to speak on this topic, but my regard to justice compels me, and Sabrina's injuries can no longer be concealed.
So, another freshman student he has one in every room of the school, I suppose.
Ungrateful Charles, now may you be surprised and feel for this indelicate situation which your perfidy has forced me into.
Is this another one of your plots, Uncle? Because I don't understand it for the life of me.
I believe there is the evidence of one more person necessary to make it extremely clear.
And that person, I believe, is Snake. Raleigh, you were quite right to bring her with us. Pray, let us have her in.
Walk in, Snake. I thought a testimony might be wanted, however it happens unluckily that she comes to confront Sabrina and not support her.
A villain, treacherous to me at last, and you too conspired against me.
I beg your ladyship 10,000 pardons. You paid me extremely liberally for the lie in question. However, unfortunately, I have been paid double to speak the truth.
Hold, Sabrina. Let me thank you for the trouble you and she have taken in writing letters from Charles to me and answering them yourself. Let me also request that you take my diploma which you granted from your scandalous college, because I kill characters no longer.
Provoking, insolent. May your husband live these 50 years.
Well, what a fury.
Yes, a malicious creature indeed.
Not for her last wish.
And what have you to say now?
Sir, I'm confounded to find that Sabrina could be guilty of suborning Snake in this manner, but lest her revengeful spirit should return to injure my brother, I should probably follow her directly.
Moral to the last drop.
And marry her, Joseph, if you can. You'll do very well together.
I believe there's no need for a Snake. And you...
But before I go, may I beg pardon to any of the parties present to whom I may have caused any uneasiness.
Well, you've made atonement with a good deed at last.
But I pray that it shall never be known.
Are you ashamed of having done a right thing once in your life?
Oh, sir, consider. I live by the badness of my character. If it were once known that I had been betrayed into an honest action, I should lose every friend I have in the world.
Well, we'll not traduce you by saying anything to your praise.
There's a precious robe! Yet that one's an 8th string and a Harvard hopeful.
See, Sir Oliver, there needs no persuasion for your nephew and my Maria.
Aye, that's as it should be. And egad, we'll have the wedding in the morning.
Oh, why, thank you, Uncle.
What, you rogue? Don't you ask the girl's permission first?
Oh, I asked her long ago, and she looked yes.
For shame, Charles. I promise, Father, there has not been a word.
Well, then the fewer the better. May your love for each other never know abatement.
May you live as happily together as Mrs. Teasle and I intend to do.
Rowley, you can congratulate me, but I owe you much.
Aye, honest Rowley said you would reform.
As to reforming, I'll make no promises. But take proof that I intend to set about it. For here shall be my monitor, my gentle guide. For you can indeed each anxious fear remove. For even scandal dies if you approve.